realized this the other day, that if TikTok or Instagram was around when I was like a high school senior, that watching a video like this might have completely and totally changed my mind. And I'm thinking about playing it and suggesting it to my now 17-year-old. I don't think his mom would be happy with this suggestion, so I'd have to run it by her before I even talk to him about it. But this one hit me right in the soul, especially if you listen to the show, you know how much my passion is traveling.
You always say that you're going to send your kids to travel the world.
As soon as they're done high school, they're not going to university. Everybody gets right into life and you haven't lived yet. When's the best time to go do that? When you have no external responsibilities. Say goodbye to your friends, get on a plane, go. Well, I have the money to do it. Figure it out. Go there, work for somebody, clean floors, pick apples. Some people are like, I don't know anybody. How would I do it? People do this all the time. Just go to the country, land, start talking to people. You'd be surprised how helpful people are, how kind they are, how inviting they are. It's going to force you to talk to people. Some people don't even know how to talk to another human. That's probably a good skill to learn. And just watch how big this world is. I mean, nothing expanded my mind more than traveling the world.
Is there anybody that did that? 1-855 Show. So that's Dan Martell on Instagram. And here's what I love about it so much is that I feel like my kid now at 17 years old is going into the cliches, right? Like when you're done with high school, you're going to college. It was just kind of a foregone conclusion. And I'm not even sure we even had the talk with him. Like it's not even an option and it should be. I wish I would have done that. My career probably wouldn't be where it is right now because I started in radio when I was a junior in high school. So it probably would have stunted it in some way, shape, or form. But, you know, older now, I realize like that opportunity to travel with less responsibility and see the world is so small in your life, and you get so much out of traveling and seeing other cultures. And I think in this country we are taught at a very young age, America's the best, everybody else sucks, we're the best. And when you travel a little bit, you're like, you know what, maybe this country has it a little more right than we do in this one area. And it opens you up to different cultures and different foods. And what Dan here is saying also is like, don't give him a full ride. My idea would be give him just enough to get him to a couple of different countries to where he'd have to work when he gets there.
Am I a pessimist for thinking what he's saying is easier said than done?
100%. You're not a pessimist, I think. Yeah, you're right on track.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that it's a lovely sentiment, and I think that, yeah, that would be great, but I think for a lot of people, that's just not feasible.
Which part?
Going to another, like traveling and doing that after high school, just from a financial standpoint, from a responsibility standpoint, I think, like, yes, I get what he's saying and I agree with what he's saying. I just don't know if that's feasible for a lot of people. And I don't know if that's just me being closed-minded or if I'm being like a realist.
So here's what I think is that when you go to different countries, the system is set up very differently in other countries than it is ours. It is much more difficult to find a job, I feel like, in our city than it is in cities across the world in a lot of different cases. But you're not talking about giving them the golden egg, in my position, I would have enough money to get him started. All right. You go to Spain, dude. Here is your ticket. And I'm also going to give you your first 4 weeks of rent or whatever. But the rest is up to you. So he has to immerse himself in that culture. Can most people do that? I think what Dan here is saying is that maybe most can't, but when you go and try and you have to survive, not only in your own country, but a different country, it teaches you a whole bunch of different things.
I definitely wish I would have been able to travel when I was younger like I can now, but I couldn't. Like Kristen was saying, I just couldn't do it. But nothing has expanded my mind more than traveling. That's true. And one of the things that always surprises me in my travels now is I do meet a lot of young people who are just out there figuring it out. They didn't know if they was going to have the money or the whatever that they was going to need, but they just use whatever resources they have to get out there and to try it. And I think it probably maximizes your potential more than you realize if you do just have the means to do it.
And it really makes you flex that grit muscle. Like the world economy sucks, man. I just got back from Argentina and their economy is terrible. So it's not like I would suggest, hey, go to Argentina and find yourself a job. Argentinians can't find themselves jobs. But the idea of going somewhere and really trying to make it and seeing and really being able to live on a day-to-day your own way outside the country, you know what? To me, there's more value in that than taking the first 2 years of school in classes again that you don't even give a crap about.
No, I agree with you. I'm just curious if it's actually feasible.
Hey, Carly, good morning. You're part of the Bert Show.
Hey, so I actually did this after college. I'm very fortunate I didn't have student debt, but I took kind of a gap year after graduating, and I went to Australia. I didn't know a soul. My parents didn't help me out. I started off au pairing, but there's so many opportunities to just like continue working and living there. I came home because my best friend was getting married. So yeah.
And the part of this that I love, part of this that I love so much is a lot of people take that gap year and their parents are paying for everything. What you're saying is you went there with not a penny and you figured it out yourself.
Well, I save a lot of money, so I really hate spending money. So I had a penny in my bank account, but I came home with nothing.
Okay, you spent it all on the road. All right, thank you for calling. And you are glad you did it at the end of the day.
Oh, 100%. Couldn't recommend more.
Okay.
Being an au pair in Australia when you're in your 20s would be so fun.
Mm-hmm. That's my friend Carly. Hi, Carly. Yeah, Carly went to Ireland and she's going to Greece with me.
Oh, yeah.
World traveler lady.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Like, if you're going to do something like this, your first country probably you want it to be somewhere where they speak English really well.
That's what I was about to say is I feel like it would be different if he was coming to you and he had like this fire in his gut to like go and travel the world. But I feel like it's a little bit different if you're like throwing him into a non-English speaking country at 18 and he's never lived on his own. And I don't know. It's not that I think he's set up for failure, but it seems like it's something that you have to really want yourself to make work.
Yeah, he's traveled with me enough to where he's got sort of that in him. I mean, it was his idea to go to Portugal. I said, look, this is your senior year, man. Where are we going to go for your trip? And he's the one that picked Portugal. So he has that. But again, I don't want to force my thing on him. And I would also want to get this cleared with his mom before I even have the discussion with him.
Good luck with that.
So let's just talk about it with the radio first.
I don't think she's going to be thrilled. Hey, Kat, good morning. You're on the Bert Show. Hi.
Good morning. This is back in the 90s, no real cell phones. I had a bag phone my dad put in the car. I drove back home to Miami, drove all the way up to northern New York, out west. I spent 8 weeks traveling the country and knew nothing. I slept in my car. I saw everything and had no regrets to it. I worked through high school, took my money, and told my parents, I said, you know what? I did dual enrollment when I was in high school. I need a break. And they didn't see me for 8 weeks. I found a payphone. I would call collect and be, hey, it's me. I'm good. I'll call you later and hang up.
Wow. And again, at the end of the day, you're happy you did it or you wish you would have done it differently?
Nope. And I have one kid left in high school, and I have pushed that same thing on the 3 others that have graduated, and they have all done the same and have no regrets either.
Fantastic. Nice. Thank you. All right, let me take one more call here, and then we'll move on. Good morning, Haley. You think it's a good idea, like after high school, maybe just take the year, go figure it out in another country, but you also have to work while you're there. You just don't make it so incredibly easy.
Yeah, I actually have a way to tell people how they can do that now and have an instant way to have a place to live and have a job. I had 2 friends that did this, and it's a website, WWOOF, and it's referred to as woofing. And that's where you go to work on an organic farm, and they give you a place to live and sometimes a little bit of a stipend in exchange for like curating their grapes on their vineyard. Or so I had one friend did that. She went with her mom as well, and they did it for a couple months in Italy and picked grapes at a vineyard, and then they had time to go explore. And then I had a different friend with no skills, absolutely none, went to Australia and became a cattle farmer and learned how to ride horses to tend to the cows. And both situations, those people absolutely loved it.
That's fantastic. What's the name of that website again?
WWOOF.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, so it's worth talking about, but like you said, man, I don't want to press my thing on him, and I do got to go through Stacy on this one.
Yeah,
that's the boy.
This would be something but don't you think it's almost, did you even have the option when you graduated from Florida, or was it just a I mean, when you graduated high school to go to Florida?
For me, I was excited. Like, that's what I wanted to do. My brother was at Florida. I was excited about the opportunity of going to college and joining a sorority and doing all the things. So for me, I did all of my exploring in college, which to me was the right fit because I was still on the right track career-wise, but then had some more flexibility to explore the world and flex that muscle there.
The Bert Show.